It feels so nice. This is a Squier Affinity Telecaster, and it costs around $250. This is a Fender Custom Shop Telecaster, and this costs around $3,500. And this is the Fender Vintera II Roadworn 75th Anniversary Telecaster, and it costs around $1,500. And in this video, I'm going to find out which is the best value for money out of all three models, and what do you actually get as the price goes up. First up, let's have a blind test sound comparison. I'm going to play the same thing on all three Teles. You try and decide which is which, and I will give you the answer a little later in the video. You could be brave now and put your guesses in the comments section and come back to them later, or just wait for a little bit. Right, let's take a look at the Squier first. This is, of course, the cheapest of the bunch. It is slightly different to the other two for various different reasons. Firstly, the body of this is poplar wood, which is a light wood used by Squier very often and other budget guitar builders. It's also a few pieces of wood glued together, which I can see one sort of greeny glue just there. And this is the blonde yellow butterscotch version. It just looks mightily different to the other two. And that's because this is a polyurethane finish. It is a cheaper finish, and I still think it looks great. It's also got a 3-ply pickguard on this, whereas the other two are single-ply, more vintage. The eagle-eyed among you will notice that we have a 6-saddle modern bridge on this, and there is a belly cut into the body, just there, which the other two don't have. The neck is maple with a glued-on maple fretboard, and the finish is somewhat unfinished, but not dusty or bad in any way. It's just, well, it's quite silky smooth, and frankly, fantastic for a guitar that's $250. I was really shocked when I took this out of the box, because the first thing I noticed was the belly carve, and then the fact that the neck is super comfortable. It is a modern C-shaped neck, meaning it's quite slim and universally friendly, although I prefer a thicker neck, such as the other two. And the rest is standard Tele. We've got tone, volume, 3-way switch, bridge pickup, neck pickup, 6-in-a-line tuners, and the Tele headstock. All the guitars have their original strings on them, in the sense that they are the same strings that the guitar came with. The Vintera actually has its original strings on. These are not the originals, but the same strings that it came with, and the Custom Shop also the same strings that it came with, but not the original, because I've had that for about 7 years now. Let's move on to the Vintera II Roadworn. Now this is a bit more vintage looking and certainly more vintage feeling. It is a nitro finish on this, and we have the single ply pickguard plus 3 barrel saddles, meaning that the E and A string are together, the D and G are together, and the B and E are together. The neck on this is a U, which is an early 50s U. It is the chunkiest neck of the three guitars, and I really dig it. It is, however, not exactly finished in the sense that it's going to need some playing in. That skunk stripe across the back, I can feel it a little bit, as though it's been sanded wet, and there's a little bit of sort of wooden hair sticking up, and the finish is a little bit sticky. Not sticky, but certainly not gliding smooth. The neck is a one-piece maple neck, and as far as I can see and feel, the body is a one-piece ash. It's definitely ash, but it feels, and I can't see a join, it feels like like it's one piece. If it is a join, I can't see it anywhere. Fender have done a great job of hiding that. Can you see it? Is it really obvious there and I'm just not seeing something? Let me know. Feel free to tag it on Instagram and you know, call me out. The rest of it is standard vintage style Tele. Tone, volume, 3-way switch, bridge pickup, neck pickup. And then we've got vintage tuners, which the Affinity Squier has as well, and so does the Custom Shop. On this is a bone nut. There is no belly carve on this. The body feels super thick. It comes with a vintage looking case as well. Let's move on to the Custom Shop. This is the Custom Shop I bought around 7 years ago, and it is simply one of my favorite guitars ever. I am not going to be biased towards it though, because I already love the other two. This is the most expensive guitar, and it is similar in setup to the Vintera, apart from the fact that this is a Quarter-Sawn maple neck, one piece from the Custom Shop. And is that a one-piece body? Fender told me it was when I bought it. I'll believe them on that. The rest looks the same as the Vintera, but it's not quite. So this is a heavy relic on this. Feel about that as you will. I did actually relic it myself. I dropped an axe on it, and there's a dent just in the lower horn, just there. I don't know if I can get that on camera. Can you see just there? There's a dent which clearly makes it more expensive. And being Custom Shop, this one is made in the USA, the Vintera is made in Mexico, and the Squier Affinity is crafted in China. This one also comes with a Custom Shop case and a Custom Shop strap and a few other Custom Shop toys that you get with it. But we're not going to be going into that in the video. We're only interested in the guitars, but bear in mind that if you buy the Squier Affinity, then you're going to need a case or some sort of gig bag if you want to take it out of the house. Right, more sound samples, I think. Let's go for some clean open chords. To my ears, this sounds like one sound coming out of the guitar, like an E, an A, and a B just coming out and sounding good. The other two sound like there's 6 strings coming out of each guitar within those chords. There's more note separation, there's more chimey sparkliness, and this one feels just a bit more flat wall of sound. That doesn't mean that I don't like it. I really, really do. And I'm shocked by how nice this neck feels. It just isn't, so far, the same as the other two. That shouldn't be a surprise, because for the price of the Custom Shop, you can get more than 10 of these. And for the Vintera, you can get about 6, depending on where you buy them. I'm in no way saying this is a bad guitar. It is superb. It is just noticeably, sonically different to the other two. Now, this wouldn't be a Telecaster comparison if I didn't put it in the middle position and do some funk. Wow. All right, that was, first of all, that was really, really, really fun. At not one point did I feel like I was playing a bad guitar. And that leads me on to, I think, the 4 things that define the differences between these 3 guitars. Number 1, the country in which they're made. The Affinity is crafted in China, meaning there's cheaper labor and there's a lot of shipping involved. The Vintera Roadworn 75th anniversary is made in Mexico, so slightly cheaper than the USA, but slightly more expensive labor than China. And then finally, the Custom Shop is, of course, USA, and that is the most expensive when it comes to labor costs. A lot of people obsess over the country of origin and its relationship to the quality of the guitar. These days, it isn't so relevant. It is relevant when the guitar is cheaper, as in $250 versus $3,000, but it's not because it's made in China, it's just a cheaper guitar. So country of origin for me, pretty irrelevant, but it needs to be pointed out in this comparison. The next thing, price. Quite simply, if you spend $3,000 on a guitar, it should be a better instrument than if you were to buy one for $250. And the price is extremely relevant when it comes to who put the guitar together, who cut it out of the tree that it was made from, and then who, most importantly, spent the time on it, because that's the third factor that I want to talk about, the amount of time that goes into building an instrument, which I think could be the biggest impact on what you get. So to get this made for 250 notes, you have to spend less time on it than this for 3,000 notes. And then if I put that down, we go in the middle to the Vintera II Roadworn. This is quite literally somewhere in the middle. There will be more time spent on this than there is on this. You can see that from the fact that they've painted the guitar, they've finished the guitar, and then they've road worn it. So somebody's gone back in and attacked it slightly, ever so slightly. Well, a bit more than ever so slightly, but there is checking on it. There is this worn neck, which isn't quite worn enough. It's not as time intensive as the Custom Shop, which has had far more time spent on it. That's a heavy relic. But even if none of these guitars were relicked, there would still be more time spent on this and this than this. And these are not as they were out of the box. Let me put that down just for a second and make sure it's still in the same order so I don't pick up the wrong one later. There we go. Don't fall over. When I took this out of the box, it was not in tune, it was not intonated. So to make this comparison fair for the sound samples, I spent 20 minutes intonating this. The Custom Shop, can I grab it? Yeah. This was set up like perfectly. When I picked it up in Thomann in 2019, the reason I bought it was because the way it felt. I didn't even plug it in before buying this. I just fell in love with the neck. I haven't done any setup to this in the 7 years that I've had it, and it's still perfect. The Vintera II did need some TLC, and it also needed about 20 minutes spent on it for intonation and tuning only. I did nothing else to any of these guitars. So if you were to buy the Squier, you would need to spend some time setting it up yourself or getting someone else to do it for you, which would cost you extra money. I don't know how much a setup is in your area, but you're looking probably around $75 to $150 on top of that to make sure that this is nice and in tune with itself. The same for this one, which is a little disappointing at this price point. I'd expect the action to be a little bit too high because of the changes in humidity and countries, but the intonation should have been better on this. The Custom Shop, still brilliant. So let me get these back in the right order. There, that one goes over there. That one's in the middle. And I'll keep the Affinity on my lap for a little bit. And the fourth and final major difference between these 3 guitars is, of course, what the guitars are built out of. This one is a poplar body. That's used because it's a cheaper wood. It's a cheaper wood because it grows quicker. If it grows quicker, you can cut down trees more regularly, therefore have a fresher supply. The Vintera is an ash body, which is a slightly more desirable wood. And yeah, it feels more like a Tele, as in a beast of an instrument. This wood would have taken longer to grow. It might even be swamp ash. I haven't got the official specs from Fender, So check the links in the video description about this. This might be swamp ash. Regardless, it is a more expensive wood than the poplar used to make the Squier. And then finally, the Custom Shop. This is also ash, but we'll talk about the neck on this one because this is quarter-sawn maple, which means it comes from a different part of the tree to non-quarter-sawn maple, which means there's less of it per tree. If there's less of it, it's more expensive. It's apparently more resonant and stronger. I don't know if it is, but it certainly is a selling point and it looks beautiful. And as these are electric guitars, we need to talk about the pickups. You get a lot of mystique and mojo and marketing when it comes to pickups, so I'll be careful when I talk about this. But in here are hand-wound pickups from the Custom Shop. That's a twisted Tele in there. I'm not sure what's in the neck, if I'm honest there. It just sounds good to me. In the Vintera are the pure 51 NoCasters. Oh, sorry, no, the pure vintage 51 NoCasters. And I should point out that that's based on a 53. So there is a difference just from what it's based on. And then as for the Squier, it comes with ceramic pickups that look like Tele pickups. They are Tele pickups, but they're the cheapest of the Tele pickups in this lineup. I'm doing a lot of talking here, not a lot of playing. So let me put these two back and we'll hit some other riffs. Now, I am not a country player, but that was a lot of fun for me. I do need to put this through a fuzz pedal, though. I love fuzz, neck pickup, Telecaster. Here we go. It feels so nice. And I think I have a favorite, but I'm very surprised at the playability and the comfort of the Squier. It's really comfortable, and I'm finding it sometimes easier to get the notes that I want. That's a surprise. Lovely, lovely fuzz. Now, for me as the player, hopefully you can hear this as well, the Custom Shop and the Vintera II are miles ahead of the Affinity Squier because of the clarity. There's the most clarity I heard in this one. Next was the Vintera, which was pretty close to this. And then the Affinity was just sort of linear in sort of in dynamics and note clarity. Which begs the question, what happens if you put great pickups in the Affinity? But that's for another video. It's time to give the results of the blind test. Here are the guitars revealed. Did you guess it right? If not, never mind. If you did, have 1,000 Chuffety points. I want to measure these pickups, the DC resistance, because you're probably wanting to know, and I want to know what it is. So, let's plug that little device in there, my little doohickey. Is it going to fit? Oh no. Does it fit in a Tele jack? It doesn't really fit that well. Oh, wonderful. All right, I'm going to have to hold that in. And pop that there. That is on the Custom Shop 7.6 on the neck, and then 9.1 on the bridge, and in the middle 4.2. It doesn't fit in that one either. I need to put a straight jack on this multimeter. Right, there we go. So neck again, volume up. We have 7.4. Only 6.9 on that, and somewhere in the middle, 3.6. Oh. My guess is this one will be slightly hotter. Neck is 6.8. I was wrong. Bridge, 6.6, and in the middle, 3.3. Oh, 3.5. So DC resistance is not necessarily a great measure of a pickup output, but it does give us some indication. Now you might be wondering how much they weigh, so let's do that. Turn that on, tear it, and the Squier Affinity up first is, in kilograms, 3.7 kilos. In pounds, that is 8 pounds, 2. The Vintera II 75th anniversary Roadworn is 3.75 kilos, or 8 pounds, 0.4. Finally, my Custom Shop is, in kilos, 3.4. I should have memorized that by now. So it's the lightest of the bunch, and it is 7 pounds, 0.8. It is noticeable that the Custom Shop is the lightest. The Vintera II does feel like a bit of a chunky beast, and the Affinity just feels like a Squier because it is naturally heavier. Let's put them on the strap, see how they feel. It feels good, it's perfect. It sits there perfectly. 1953, we did it right, or Fender did. The Vintera, I can feel that it's heavier already, just picking it up. Popping it on the strap. I can tell that it's heavier, but it's still very, very comfy. Yeah, that's a good feeling Tele. And so's that. That's a great feeling Tele, and the belly cut in this has definitely helped get rid of some of that weight that would be there. In case I've missed any of the specs you were after, I've got links to each of the guitars in the video description and in the first comment. So if you want to know more detail about them, go and check that link. Let's get to the point of this video. Which of these guitars gives the best value, and furthermore, which one, if out of all three, would I keep if I could only keep one? It would not be the Custom Shop, surprisingly. Even though this is my favorite guitar, or one of my favorites, I would be happy to let that go for the Vintera, which is crazy, because this is, for the money, the best guitar out of the three. It's not really a surprise. It is a huge jump from 250, but it is not as far a jump as the Custom Shop. So what I'm trying to say here really is that this Squier Affinity is a lot of guitar, and for 250 notes, it is outstanding. It is enough for most people. If you want to do something to your guitar that will make it better, I would recommend changing out the tuners for something that don't feel, they're not crunchy, but they just don't give you enough when you're turning. And then if you really want to, change those pickups out for something a little bit more quality, shall we say. They do the job, but as you've heard in this video, they are very one-dimensional. If you want to skip all that and have something with a chunkier neck, the Vintera II 75th anniversary Roadworn Telecaster, the 51, no doubt, is phenomenal. It's just not quite perfect. And most of those imperfections can be dealt with when you have it in your hands. I just don't think you should have to. Ultimately, if you are a beginner guitar player or someone who just plays guitar on the weekends or whatever, is not too serious about it and just wants to have some fun, the Squier Affinity is a lot of guitar, and I would absolutely recommend that for you. If you are a gigging guitar player and you want to take a vintage-looking Tele out on the road and not worry about it too much, the Vintera II is possibly Fender's best value for money range they do. It's never quite there out of the box, but it's very, very close, and this is the guitar for you. If you've been playing guitar for a while, or you want to treat yourself to something super, super special, get yourself a Custom Shop. You don't need this. I don't need this, but I wanted this, and I'm so glad that I have it. I worked hard for it, and yeah, I don't ever want it to leave my side. But if it did, I'd certainly be happy with this, or indeed the Affinity with some better pickups in it. So yeah, that is it from me and the three Teles. I would love to know what you think, so let me know in the comments down below. Which would you pick? Is the Custom Shop way over the top? Is the Vintera II where it's at? Or is the Affinity all that you need? Alright, I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye!